Welcome back to the channel. Ernesto here. We're checking out a new game called Nested Lands. It is a demo. Checking out the early access. It looks like it's going to be giving some Sengoku Dynasty or Medieval Dynasty vibes. I'm excited to play it. It's obviously going to be early access, so what you see here is nowhere close to the finished product. I'm just going through the menu items here, checking out the controls, seeing what options are available for the video graphic settings. Not a lot to choose from, but that's expected. On the game's website, nestedlands.com, on the About side, it talks about the Death Plague. And as it states here, a devastating plague has swept through the world and utterly transformed it. Terrifying, morbid madmen, twisted by the plague, now roam the mangled lands. Bloodthirsty bandits lurk in the grim shadows. You only have two options: survive and endure, or perish and end up in the pile of rotting corpses that were once people. It says Nested Lands is a multiplayer settlement survival RPG set in a fictional dark Middle Ages that will severely punish you for the slightest sign of weakness. There's no place for hope in this hell where the remnants of humans, embittered and mutilated, pray to live another day. So we went ahead and made a character here. It looks like it's going to be Terraria style or games like that where you can create a character and then switch between different areas.
The world is dead. It died 20 years ago when the Death Plague was born. It came for all, killing indiscriminately. It killed the poor, it killed the rich, the powerful, and the powerless. For a time, there was resistance, hope, but only for a time. When King Roderick II fled the capital, chaos became the only remaining rule. The kingdom of Saxna turned on itself, like a beast consuming its own flesh. Suffering became the new norm until we could endure it no longer. That is why I decided to sail to the ancestral home of my family, to Norovalia. Yet I fear I've come to find only more misery. Bandits and savages swarm the land, preying on the poor survivors. Destruction adorns the landscape, leaving only ruins to spare. Yet I must not surrender to despair. I have come with a dream, bound by blood, to start my own village, to have a place that is safe, truly safe. To use the ancestral bell of our people as a beacon of security, a beacon of light amongst the darkness. It is up to me to find allies here, amidst all the rotting corpses. Only together can we hope to tame these nested lands.
The voiceover's definitely giving me some Spaceborne 2 AI vibes. It's early. I'm not a fan of that, but what else can you do at this point? Alright, we're in. It's going to be crash landed on a beach, as usual. The game looks okay, though.
Liking it last guy. That was quite the crash back there. I'm fine. Destroyed, I'm afraid. You're stuck here now. Position. It is. We are currently in the island of North Flats, famous.
What do you mean?
No immediate danger, at least. Get up. There's some food, drink, and a tunic for you to wear. They're in your backpack.
Thank you.
Not sure I really did that.
Alright, let's walk around. I'm going to check out some of the options. I need to down the volume here for sure. Movement seems decent. I'm already clipping with some things on the beach there. Looks like we got a little note. Pause to read, I guess. But the movement is okay at the moment. It seems a little slow to react on the walking around. It's almost like games where you rotate your character and there's a slight delay. The inventory system seems pretty natural. Looks like we found a simple tunic right away, and a torch and some apples. I like games that have tab as the inventory just because that's what I'm used to. However, the tabbing out and tabbing back in between menus where it opens up the inventory again, that bothers me a little bit. I would like tab just to open and close the whole menu.
Yeah. Now, don't take too long. If you don't treat that wound soon, we'll end up just another corpse in this. Sure.
So our character is already pretty damaged. Looks like we need to grab some cotton to make bandages. So we'll do that. I'm guessing this is kind of the tutorial starting area. We're getting a little bit of hitching, which is fine. Again, I have a reasonable outlook on this. I have a 5800 X3D and a 4090. So obviously optimization is going to come later. The transitions in movement are pretty rough. Again, I want to be patient and, you know, address that this is an early game and, you know, they're just trying to get the content in. Obviously, the other polishing will happen later. But, I mean, the game looks good. I like the graphics. I like the audio. It sounds pretty good. The crafting menu, one thing, big pain is it's once per click, and if you close your menu it cancels
What the hell happened here?
your crafting. So if you click on something, tab out, it cancels it, and you can't craft multiple items at once and sit there, which is unfortunate. Some of the crafting items, you know, take a couple seconds, and to sit there and have to click over and over again, that time adds up as you
Best
play.
to stay away from the plague area. Don't want to risk infection.
So it looks like there's a plague mechanic. The closer that you get, you have a little bar that increases to, I'm guessing, 100% when you have the plague. I'm not sure exactly what happens with that.
That's good, because we've got another problem. The damn bandits that threw me in this dump seem to... We have no chance of survival here. With this many corpses, it won't be long before the death plague shows its putrid Don't worry. Can you? You won't mind looking around for some materials. Wood and stone, mostly. To craft an axe, Leave it to me. But what are you going to... I need to make sure there's no one waiting for us on the other side of this gate. I suppose not.
Another typical useless NPC. So I'll spend some time gathering items and crafting what we need to craft. One thing that I noted here is nothing's highlighted. I didn't know what, I guess, I was looking for initially, but I did locate logs and all of that good stuff. So we'll cut back to when I create a axe and the tools that I need. All right, we got the axe. The inventory is a little wonky. I didn't understand how to add things to the hotkey bar, and sometimes it drops items. It was a little bit of a learning curve on what you were supposed to do. Hopefully that's optimized, but that's something I can forgive in the meantime.
Good job with that axe. It cut through that gate like it was nothing. Thanks, Boulder. We need to decide what to do. That it won't, and we really don't want to be left wandering around after dark. There was a village? There was a village there. Yes, it's safe.
So it looks like there's going to be the standard stuff, food, water, hygiene, warmth, and a plague rating. And then there's different skills that you can unlock. And I found that it looks like you level those skills up just by doing, you know, similar to Oblivion, run, would increase whatever XYZ. So the more gathering you do, the better survival rating you'll get, for example. Here we have a decently sized map. I haven't ran that far, but from what I have done, it seems like things are pretty well spaced out, so should be a pretty large map. I spend the next few minutes just gathering some stuff from some abandoned houses, and eventually we'll locate a location to set up our home base. After gathering some items, we come back to Balder here, and we actually see our first NPC walking around.
The death plague can kill us in more ways than one, too.
Before you have your location set up, they don't really say anything. So I was unsure on what the NPC was for, but once we get our base set up, you can actually come back and recruit these guys to work in your little village. So there are points of interest on the map. This one's a market village, for example. I can confirm those chickens that you hear are able to be killed and harvested and used for a food source. So that's always a plus. And after spending some time gathering some items, you come up to this location here and talk to Balder again. And this is where you're actually going to set up your first village. And don't mind me getting sidetracked on gathering. That's just my play style. Get a little hooked on everything I see. I have to stop and grab it.
And here we are, my old village. The world is dead. A reminder my father once told me. It means that no matter how many times the world can... I had forgotten the word, and now I'm here with you, and I've been wondering, why did you...
It was my parents' idea. They were born here and thought that this would...
So you're here to start a village? Recruit?
Yeah, I know it sounds childish.
I'll be skipping a lot of dialogue for this video, but essentially he talks about getting a campfire set up and a tent. So that's the first time we take a look at the build mode. And it's very similar. Nothing's going to be out of sorts when compared to Medieval Dynasty or Sengoku Dynasty, for example. Same type of building, obviously without the polish of adding items one by one at this point. I'm sure that'll be something to look forward to changing in later versions of the game. And obviously at the fire, you can craft food items. So later on, you'll see me take down a very scary chicken and cook that at the fire. You got some tallow or some fat and stuff like that. And then, yeah, you spend the next few minutes gathering items to build. And you do sleep during the night. I also found that the bottles that you find in the world can be used as water containers, and you can go to pretty much any lake or stream and gather water from it. It doesn't look like you have to boil any water or get anything prepared. Obviously, that's subject to change, but at the moment, you can just YOLO it, not die from dysentery. Now, during this time, I was supposed to be looking for river reeds to build our tent, and I didn't know the difference between river reeds and the other items that you could locate, like the other bushes and shrubbery, which just gave you plant fibers. So it'd be nice if they could show you the first time what things look like, because when I think of reeds, I guess I had a different picture of what that would be than what was located in the game. Obviously, geography is different, but when I finally did find it, it wasn't exactly what I expected. So definitely make use of the tooltip. That's eventually what helped me locate it. I'm not gonna lie. I spent probably 20 minutes running around the lake and even went all the way back to the starting area thinking that maybe it would be, by a larger body of water. But eventually I did locate what I needed to. The problem with that in the beginning is you actually can't sleep until you build this tent, and you can't use the tent until you find the reeds. So I was just having issues getting cold, having to run back to a fire, scouting out some more when really the reeds were pretty close by. There's an example of when your inventory's full, you're holding a torch. If you hit one of your hotkeys for your quick item access, you'll just drop the torch on the floor. And I was like, well, I don't have any storage yet, so there's that.
I think you should get some rest. Get some rest. Sleeping will restore your...
I saw some people on the way here.
This again? I told you...
So you can actually set how long you sleep, and the world kind of keeps running around you. It just speeds up the time. So I'm assuming that NPCs and stuff like that, if they're still awake, they still do work. Obviously, I'm unsure at this point because I don't have any villagers. But yeah, you wake up and you're kind of refreshed for the day. Obviously, you'll need to grab some water and food after a long night.
I've thought about your offer.
Oh, that's great news.
We'll see. In any case, on it.
So you have to set a bell tower as your village center. So find a good location on the map. I kind of put it a little farther in, assuming that I would be expanding my village, so I didn't want it right in the beginning. I kind of wanted to make it central. And once you find a location you want to do that, go ahead and start gathering the items that you need. Here's the tree chopping mechanics. I also should note in here, all of the little stones and stone walls and rubble that are located in the area are mineable, as well as the tree stumps. It's not like the other games where you need a shovel to get rid of the tree stumps. You can actually just swing your axe at it. I didn't figure that out until a little while later, but it gives you a couple extra wood. And there's our village center built. You actually get access to a community storage chest, which is pretty important in the beginning of the game because I spent a lot of time gathering things in some abandoned villages, and this is the first time I was able to store any of that. The storage menu system is pretty rough. They definitely need to polish this just for, I guess, usage, even for the demo. It would be nice to have a little bit more polished inventory system. That shouldn't take too long to figure out, but having a quick transfer or being able to transfer items a different way. I tried some normal hotkeys. They weren't working. It's possible that there's something else to do this quicker, but I did not figure it out, and it was a tad annoying dealing with how the inventory system is at this point in time.
Makes sense.
Hold your horses. If you want to recruit someone, you need to build them a house first. No need for anything too fancy just yet.
See?
So, as per usual, you need to build houses for your NPCs prior to recruiting them. So a lot of the items needed for that, or I guess the build menu items, are unlocked after you build your village center. So find a good location to plop down some little cabins. I ended up building, I think, 3, and then first order of business was going back to that NPC that we saw earlier and attempting to recruit him. And I guess now's a good time to mention, like Medieval Dynasty or those other games, you just swim around in the water to up your hygiene level. So every once in a while, I just have to run to the water and sit there for a bit to rejuvenate that bar. And after grabbing the items that you need, go ahead and build that first cabin and set off to find an NPC to get
Good.
as a member for your
This
community.
island is full of people looking for a purpose. I'll keep.
I did decide to celebrate our newfound village by murdering some chickens and getting some meat and stuff like that for food.
Hello there.
And in the same area, I found that initial NPC. Go through the dialogue. You can check to see what their skills are going to be prior to recruiting them. Obviously, nothing shows up at this point, but he joins, and then you can assign him a job right away, and he'll head back towards the village. This will also unlock a few more items to build, some crafting stations and things like that. I ended up building a well and a crafting location and a few other buildings that were required for basic civilization, you know, food, water, some farmland and stuff like that. And then I found another NPC at another nearby village and recruited him as well. So I eventually got up to having two NPCs.
Speaking of which, that shouldn't be too much. One last thing. Start building some. Got it.
One of the main locations that you'll need is a builder's hut. They're
Now that the builder's
going to be a
hut is ready,
location where you can
it's
assign
time
a
to assign
builder,
someone to be your new builder.
and you
Of
can just
course,
set
they can craft
items down
materials
to
on their
build,
own,
and obviously if they
or
have
one
the
of our other
items,
villagers
they
can
will
do it,
build it.
depending on their own job. That way, to change a villager's profession, you can always go to the village center. And I don't.
He mentions the village center here. One thing I forgot to mention, that village center is actually the only place you can save your game at the book. So I would suggest doing that just based on a certain situation that happens to me later in the video. I learned my lesson. That's all I'll say. So I get some farmland down to get a food production system going here. I don't know how many to place. I just placed one around a cabin, and then I was going to assign one NPC as a farmer. One thing I should mention, I never got to the point where I found out if I needed to put tools in the community chest for them to do work. I don't know if that's been implemented yet, but I didn't get that far. So similar to other games, you go to the village center, and that's where you can actually modify where your villagers work and how you want to set up the logistics. So just reference that when you get started. You can also get water from the well that you make, and instead of waiting around in the lake, you can build a little bathhouse to take care of your hygiene as well. One thing not implemented yet is when you build these little cottage buildings, you can't actually use those to sleep in, which I thought was a little odd. I mean, I know it's early, but I think there should be a sleeping mechanic put in place pretty early on where you can use your own house to sleep in just for immersion. It's also nice to feel like you've accomplished something with your building, because by this point you've gathered quite a bit of resources and put a lot of work in. It'd be nice to have some type of reward for that. Unfortunately, everything's pretty downhill from here. One thing I should have known, especially playing plenty of early access games, is don't be jumping around and trying things. It had a jump mechanic, so I figured, yeah, let's give this a shot. And as you'll see, this ended up completely bricking my save and my entire progress for this game. I can be a patient guy, but you figure out real quick the issues that are in place with this game as it stands. There is no unstuck. There is no save. There is nothing in the menu. And if you haven't saved at your village center, this is your life. So you can sit and watch me spiral out of control here for the next little bit. My guy started getting cold, so I equipped a torch, which does increase your warmth. But then it got me thinking, well, how about I just not warm myself? I'll die, maybe lose some items, respawn, and get back to the game without, completely ruining my run. So as you can see at this point, all of this was a facade. You will not die from freezing. You will not die from hunger. Your health will not drop to 0 in this current build. So I was just screwed. Literally, I couldn't do anything. I'd have to quit, reload, and be at the beginning of when I first placed my bell tower. So to be honest, this game kind of left a pretty sour taste in my mouth for not having any type of unstuck implementation or a load or a save option. I had fun while the game lasted. Obviously, this is not a review. At this point, it's not anything too crazy different from any other Sengoku Dynasty type game. I wish I had a better experience, but I've got to be honest at this point. That was kind of game breaking for me. I know this is just a demo, but I've been super patient for all the other stuff. This one ticked me off. I'm not going to lie. I did not have a good time quitting the game. I have since then not played the game any further. I will probably check it out once it's closer to full release. But at this point, yeah, you invest some time, and if you want something that turns you off from a game is losing a bunch of progress. And a lot of that's on me for not saving, but there should be some type of fail-safe or fix in-game to be able to deal with those type of things. My overall thoughts of the title at this point are, I would say, positive for the gameplay aspect. I'm not going to sit here and be the one to tell you that this is going to be much different from the other Dynasty style games, because really the only thing that sets it apart thus far that I've seen is the plague system, which I haven't even really got a chance to delve into. I didn't do a whole lot of map exploration just because I was kind of fixated on getting the community up and running. But obviously with the ending, it's going to be hard for me to reinvest that time to rebuild. But don't take my word for it. You can check out the game now. It's on Steam. You can play the demo, add it to your wish list if you're into this type of gameplay. At this point, you may have already, completed or got to a satisfactory level in Sengoku Dynasty or Medieval Dynasty or some other title like that. So this might be a new option to look forward to once the game is complete and polished out. Definitely, one or two maybe different aspects for this game. So I look forward to checking back in at a later date. But yeah, I mean, at this point, it's a demo. I can be forgiving for the demo, but it's not something that I'm obviously going to be able to invest my time into with how the current status of the game is for apparent reasons. Anyway, thanks for stopping in and watching. This is obviously not a full review due to it being a demo, but yeah, if you'd like to see more videos like this, I would appreciate a like or subscribe. If you want to see anything different, make sure you put it in the comments, or if you have any input on the game, maybe something that I didn't go over here, let the community know what you think about this game, and if you look forward to it, or if you just think that this is going to be another Dynasty game with really no new aspects of gameplay. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.